they say when they tell you that you can't make it, but you can if you try, y'all. When life is rough, I know sometimes you wanna cry, y'all. Just keep the faith and don't question. Ain't no need of stressing. Your life is still a blessing.
It's not about the cars, the money, or the clothes.
You can believe these things will only come and go, but when you're getting real love from everyone you meet, it's a blessing, y'all. It's magic, y'all.
What a beautiful life.
All that I've got, all that I need, I've got you, baby, you got me. What more could I ask for? Beautiful life.
Beautiful life. We got
Beautiful life.
I got
A beautiful life.
beautiful life.
And now we all been blessed to be here, so it ain't no need for stress. We don't worry about the things that we can't control. We just pray and hope for the best. You don't need a whole lot of money. You don't need no fancy car. You ain't gotta be famous or a movie star. Just be happy with who you are. You got some food on the table and a place to live, and that's a beautiful life. You got somebody you can love, family and some kids, and that's a beautiful life. You got money in your pocket just to pay your bills, and that's a beautiful life. Just to make it through the struggle and you still be here. Now that's a beautiful life.
Okay, wind me up. EC, stand up.
killing it. You killing it. You killing it. You killing it.
Welcome, Truth 360 listeners. My name is Holly Holiday, and I am your co-host. And my partner in crime is joining us via telephone. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Holly. How are you?
I am wonderful. I miss you already.
I do too. I just told everyone we're on the journey down to Atlanta to promote the Lisa Initiative as well as to do some other business transactions. And I just told an enormous group of people that I need to end this call with you because I have to get on live with my girl, my partner in divine, my ace boon too, Holly Holiday. So how are you, Holly, and how are things in Washington, D.C.?
Well, fortunately, we've gotten past the snow, and then came the rains. I feel like I'm living a biblical epic drama. But today, the sun is not out, but is on its way. So we feel good about where we are right now.
You know what
How
I found
is the
myself
traveling
saying,
to
Holly?
Atlanta?
Yeah, what I thought, it's been raining the entire trip. And
Yeah.
what I found myself saying, Holly, was remember, Jennifer, April showers bring May flowers, but it's March.
Yes, exactly. I was like, wait a minute. You mean we got to get through April too? I'm not even ready. Well, Jennifer, let me remind the
Spring is
people.
a-
Let me remind the people that they are listening to Truth 360 by Black Dress Collaborative, and that Truth 360 is brought to you weekly, every week, Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that it's a high-energy weekly interview show, debate, commentary, talk show. We talk about the issues. We talk about the frivolous stuff. We pretty much just talk about whatever is top of mind and whatever is hot out there. We try to bring you information that will help empower and inform your lives, and we do so with a mix of humor and brutal honesty with a complete non-judgmental perspective. Well, normally Jennifer does that, but I try to be as non-judgmental as I can, just to make sure that we're bringing all the information to you completely unfiltered, or as unfiltered as we can get it. And we invite our listeners to be part of the conversation by texting Truth 360 to 40691. And for those of you watching us online, you see our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And again, it's Truth 360 by BDC. And pretty much you can find us all over the web with that. So, have you made it to Atlanta, or are you still en route, Jennifer?
I'm still en route, Holly, but I can tell you the entire time that I've been on this trip, one of the major things that we've been talking about is the continuation of the ripple effects from Senator Mikulski making her resignation.
Oh my
And so for
goodness.
my
Oh
first
my
five
goodness.
topics
It was like
today-
it was like the tidal wave came through in the state of Maryland.
Absolutely, Holly, meaning from the moment that Senator Mikulski announced that she will be not be seeking an additional term, Chris Van Hollen, former congressman and former chair of DNC committee, he literally announced that he would be running for the seat. And
Wow.
the phone started ringing all over the state of Maryland. Then this week on Tuesday, Congresswoman Donna Edwards, as we predicted on the Truth 360 show, made her announcement that she
Yes.
will be seeking the bid. So
All
we
the
have
Maryland people
conversations
are at
being
Twitter.
had. Absolutely.
And of course,
so
with
now
her
that
moving
they're
up,
announcing-
I immediately got a flood of emails from people, chief among which being Glenn Ivey, which I think I got today, announcing that they were now running for Donna's seat. So I can only imagine what's coming next. And we've been joined by Janine Clark.
Hi, Jennifer.
And I know that she too has probably felt the ripple
Oh my God!
of Senator McCluskey's retirement.
Absolutely.
And now people are just getting out there. I mean, Anthony.
Everybody is
I
out.
feel like I should run.
Oh, the list is so long.
I know.
The
I know.
list
It's-
is so long.
Hi, Jennifer. I'm so sorry to everybody that I'm late, but you know the traffic in DC is getting like New York now.
Oh my God, that's where we live, I think. But no, I think we ought to have. I think we ought to create our own Truth 360 candidate. I don't
Right.
know if it's gonna be me, Janine, or Jennifer, or one of our other many friends
Yeah,
of
I
the
think
show.
that's a good idea.
But I think we ought to just have a Truth 360 endorsement and figure out who our slate is gonna be.
Right, because oh my God, everybody
It
wants
feels
that
like
seat.
everybody. I mean, and they're running for everything. you know?
Everything,
Right.
everything, you know. So, oh my goodness,
and my
yeah.
sisters over in Montgomery County have
Yes.
also been blowing up the line.
Yes,
telling me
that's
about
right.
the
And
same
Montgomery
thing that's
County is
going
not
on
safe
in Montgomery
either.
County.
Exactly, because Chris Van Hollen has announced that he's also running, which frees up his seat in Montgomery County.
Right.
And then Donna frees up the seat in Prince George's
George's
and Anne
County,
Arundel.
yeah.
So the whole inside
She
the
has
Beltway
set off
corridor
a tidal wave.
for DC, for the
And
Maryland
then we
inside the
haven't even-
Beltway counties are all aflutter.
Exactly.
and you don't
right.
get this
and
opportunity
then we haven't
much.
brought in the fight about the Democratic versus the Republican Party.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Right. The overall battle. In addition.
right. In addition to.
Right. Let's just throw one more
Yes,
issue into
yes,
the pot.
Yes, because I've heard Mike Steele's name thrown about, and Ehrlich, yeah, Bob Ehrlich, that's right. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like we're talking about people who couldn't be competitive,
Exactly.
and people who
Exactly.
haven't won before. So
Right.
this is getting ready to be. I have a feeling that this will be an ongoing conversation for us here at Truth 360.
Absolutely. I definitely
So,
think so.
I think so too, Holly.
they
I'm
they
gonna
came
let
out
Uncle
just in
Rap-
time for us to have a whole lot to say,
We're so thankful.
and we're so thankful. Right? What were you
And
saying,
I'm
Jennifer?
gonna wrap up the conversation, Holly,
Uh-huh.
by sharing that Barbara Mikulski is a pint-sized powerhouse, and once again,
Yes.
all she has to do is speak. And
Yes.
Isn't that something?
Hey,
That's the way a
there
whole
is no
country-
doubt that her
So
legacy
I
is
think-
well intact for
Yes.
sure.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
She kept it going when she came in. She stirred up the dirt being in the Senate and
Sure
protecting
did.
our interests, and even on the
Absolutely.
way out,
On the way out.
she's keeping it lively. So, hats off to Senator McCluskey.
Yes.
Well, Jennifer, thank you very much for giving us the update from the road. Continue with your safe travels. We look forward to having you back in the studio next week. Do you want to give us a preview of what we'll be talking about next week?
Absolutely, Holly. You know that you and I started these series, and so every first Wednesday of the month, we're doing our Wealth and Wellness series, and every third Wednesday of the month, we're going to be doing our health, empowerment, education, entrepreneurship, and leadership series.
Wonderful. That was a whole lot. I know.
Thank God we have a 2-hour show.
Exactly.
And so we want to make sure that when people are listening to Truth 360, our strategy, all of the experts that we bring on, that when we're talking about wealth building, money, when we're talking about all the great things,
Yes.
if none of it works if your health isn't intact, if you're not leaving a
that's true.
legacy of wealth for the next generation.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that we are doing a wealth and wellness and an empowerment and health and leadership wellness.
Awesome.
Thank you
Wonderful.
guys so much. I know you're going to hold it down. Janine, thank you for sitting in.
Oh,
my seat
absolutely.
And holding it down with my host extraordinaire, Holly. Have a great show. I'll be listening in.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you,
Have
Jennifer.
a good
Take
one.
care.
Well,
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The politics thing, I mean, I feel like Jon Stewart, he's like, or the
Uh-oh.
people from Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Thank God the politicians keep giving me stuff to talk about.
Exactly. So you
Thank God
always
for
have
them,
something
'cause
that you
I always
can.
have something to say. I don't know
New
what it's gonna
material.
be, but they give
Right.
us like tons and tons of material.
Tons.
So I don't know about how you feel about this, but I have to say,
Uh-oh.
this whole Hillary Clinton email thing.
I know. I was like,
Who
I wonder if she's going to
cares?
talk about that today.
Yes,
It was like, okay. Because I know there was some other things that have been going on, but I didn't know if she was going to be one of the
I
topics.
am
But yeah, I couldn't
so
understand what all the big
annoyed by
hoopla is
the
about.
hoopla about this Hillary Clinton email crap.
I know.
I mean, I have a couple of things. So
Okay.
first of all, just state the facts. As Secretary of State, she opted, instead of using an official Secretary of State email, to continue using her personal email.
Right.
Now, I don't really know why she made that decision, but she was Secretary of State for more than 4 years.
Right.
At no time during those 4 years did it present any kind of problem.
Right. We didn't hear
Did
about any
anybody
breaches
say-
or anything
and still
like
to
that.
this day, they haven't said that it created any kind of issue.
Exactly.
That there was anything wrong with it other than the fact that it happened. And the one thing that I've heard has been, well, we don't know if she's turned over all correspondence, which is really a simple matter. And and she said that, no problem. She'll
Right.
deal with that.
Okay.
She has, but if there's an issue, she'll deal with that specific issue. And I'm not trying to call her out, but the woman is 60-something years old. And I
Right,
don't know
right.
about you, But a lot of the 60-something-year-olds that I have in my world, they just not trying to manage 15 million email accounts.
This is starting to get real personal.
I'm just saying. And so I don't want to call Hillary out, and I'm not saying this is why.
Right.
But I can get it because, again, some people are just not that tech savvy and they don't want to manage 15 emails. So
and
what
don't
difference does it
assume
make?
that somebody is, and unless you feel like an email, created a national tragedy or issue or incident or whatever, can we please move on?
I'm waiting on the move on. So
yeah, I know some kids
don't
that
even
need
like
some
to give
college money. That's more important,
Right. I just feel
Can
like
we prioritize?
it's one of those things that is the biggest non-issue that is taking up way too much airtime and way too much newspaper space.
I agree.
About absolutely nothing.
Exactly. And there's always the underlying reason why people are doing things. And we know that all of this is because there's the rumors that Hillary is going to run for president. So let's try to discredit them, before things get started. Okay, she hasn't said, yes, she's running. We don't know what her platform is yet. Let's talk about substance and something that really matters.
Let's at least make a good faith effort to get to that point. That's
Please.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So the last thing that's kind of on my mind, I'm a sorority girl. You're a sorority girl.
Yes.
And we can't get her. And Jennifer is also a sorority girl.
Absolutely.
So
we just happen to be in the best sorority.
Of course. We can't not talk about these people at University of Oklahoma. Wow. What in the hell were they thinking?
What were they thinking? And they recorded it.
Yes. Let's go through the list.
Let's go through the
right. So
the different levels.
They learned the song.
They learned the song. They taught the song to somebody else. Right.
They practiced. They all learned it.
Right.
A whole group of them.
Right.
That was number one.
It wasn't, from what I saw, it wasn't a real difficult song to learn.
No, it wasn't.
Right.
I'm saying they
maybe
learned
all
the
of
song,
2 minutes.
And then they recorded the dang song.
Recorded it.
And then they
this is okay, isn't it?
Out.
Right. Let's everybody see.
Then they posted it somewhere.
Right.
I mean, oh my goodness.
I know.
I mean, there's no doubt that they were just stupid. And so now, as a result, their house is shut down.
Right.
Some of the people who are in the video can't even go home.
Right. Right. And I heard 2 of them got suspended.
Apparently,
one withdrew, I think.
Yes,
because it got so bad.
Yeah, apparently most of the kids have been permanently suspended.
Right.
The fraternity has totally been suspended.
Right.
And the national is denying any knowledge of this.
Of course.
Okay.
That's a little iffy.
And
the fact is, they're right. Erno,
exactly.
In the fraternity.
Right. Oh, well, welcome, Mr. Grigsby. How are you?
How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, hi. How are you?
No.
We want to let people
open.
know who you are.
Exactly. We haven't introduced you yet, but feel free to
right.
join
Please
in on the
comment.
conversation.
Absolutely.
I just can't get over how ridiculous. I mean, and then now, rightly so, you have all the kids that they're trying to recruit because look. My family's from Oklahoma.
Right. You did tell me that.
So we got a long history with the Sooners.
Right.
And let me tell you, they have a big football program at the University of Oklahoma. And it is starting to interfere with their ability to bring people on.
Yeah.
And a couple of recruits are saying,
I'm not coming.
What?
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I saw an interview by one of their recruits, young guy from Texas. Mm-hmm. And he said, I would have felt better about this if they had sent me some information to let me know
that this was out there.
Had happened.
Yeah.
But here I am communicating with them about coming to their school, and then I happen to see this on the news.
Right. Surprise.
And he's like, and I'm just as affected by what actually happened as well as by how they didn't disclose that this was going on.
Exactly.
So, of course, football means money. So the school is scrambling
Dollar
to get
dollar
it
bills,
together,
y'all.
But, you know, I'm kind of like, y'all just another situation where folks got caught with their pants down.
Right.
And they should have been dealing with this a whole long time ago. but
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah, it really, really is. And I just don't know what to say. I mean, our topic today and just some things that have been happening in our community at large. And then, you know, right when you think we've made one or two steps forward, you hear something like this. So I don't know how we're going to deal with this kind of systemic racism.
Yes.
I don't know if there's even a cure or an option. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. It seems like it's getting worse rather than better. So
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and take our first song break, and then we'll come back with our guest. It looks like we have, we definitely know we have Calvin Grigsby
Right,
on the
but we
line,
know
and
he's here.
We got to get him into it. I mean, he has just been a wealth of information. And we've got some other folks on the line too, so we'll get them all on board, and we'll go from there. And you know, I love a theme. You know, nothing like a theme.
Right.
I can theme out pretty much any damn thing.
I'm a witness on that one.
And so today's theme, as we talk about public finance gone wrong and use the Birmingham, Alabama sewer scandal as our base, I thought we needed a theme today, which is water. So we're going to kick it off with one of my favorite songs about water.
Oh, okay.
Waterfalls by TLC.
Oh, one of my favorites too.
Hey, Calvin, I'm here.
I like that from the people up top. Check this out.
Yo, I can't believe they got the PE in court before the judge on some nonsense. I got the S1s ready. Chuck Flame, what's up? Yeah, get
Court, now in court because I stole a beat. This is
because my life is 10 shades of gray. I pray all 10 fade away, seldom praise him for the sunny days. And like his promise is true, only my faith can undo the many chances I blew to bring my life to an end. Clear blue and unconditional skies have dried the tears from my eyes, no one lonely cries. My only leading hope is for the folk who can't cope with such an enduring pain that it keeps them in the pouring rain. Who's to blame for two and gain into your own vein? What a shame, you shoot and aim for someone else's brain. You claim the insane and aim to stay in time for falling prey to crime. I say the system got you victim to your own mind. Dreams are hopeless aspirations and hopes are coming true. Believe in yourself, the rest is up to me. Yeah. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. I know that you're gonna have it your way or nothing at all, but I think you're moving too fast. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. I know that you're gonna have it your way or nothing.
All right, welcome back, man. I have to tell you, every now and again, I come up with some topics, and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get into that.
This is a good
And
one.
today is one of those shows, so I want to get right into it. Today we're going to, as you know, as we all know, we use public financing usually through some type of bond issue,
Right.
as a important source of revenue to build tons of public works projects across this country.
Exactly.
And this is an area in which literally trillions of dollars are spent
Right.
and made and earned and generated to complete these projects.
Exactly.
But sometimes they go really wrong.
Right.
And none probably as wrong as what is happening in Jefferson County, Alabama. And I have to first thank and acknowledge City Council person Sheila Tyson, who unfortunately is on a plane right now, but I'm going to send her a copy of this show for introducing. Well, actually, I knew about it from years back.
Okay.
But what I didn't realize was how things are still continuing to be a problem.
Right.
And that's the issue. That's the thing with news, you know. And it came up when we were talking about the 10th anniversary of Katrina, which I cannot freaking believe is this year.
Isn't that amazing?
And she said, well, Katrina, let's talk about the sewers in Birmingham.
Wow.
And I said, is that still a problem?
Right.
And so on today's show, we have Calvin Grigsby, who is both a bond attorney and a financial advisory consultant and has his security license and all of that. He is the principal at Grigsby and Associates. He has pretty much been working in the area of municipal finance for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
He's been a law professor, which as lawyers, we can certainly appreciate that. I don't know that I would want to be a law professor.
I'm glad
so
I'm on this side.
I'm in awe of that. But he's also had a number of firsts in the municipal finance industry. And in addition to that, pretty much has been the lead or sole banker or financial advisor for over $100 billion in public finance issues all across this country. I don't know if he's got every state, but it seems like he's got most of the big ones.
Yeah, he's got Prince George's County, Maryland.
Oh, yeah, he's got California, Texas, Ohio. I mean, pretty much everywhere. And he has been working with the good people of Jefferson County, Alabama. Also joining him, and thank you so much, Mr. Grigsby, for joining us today. And thank you for bringing Major General retired and County Commissioner George Bowman on to also be a part of our show today. I want to say it's one of the things that immediately jumped out at me is that Commissioner Bowman served in Korea, and you know, South Korea is one of my favorite places.
Right.
And I've visited there and just love that. And right around the military base is so fascinating because everybody speaks like this great broken English.
Right.
So it made me feel like right at home.
Right.
But now he is representing the District 1 of Jefferson County. And so I don't want to spend any more time. Gentlemen, welcome to Truth 360. And thank you for providing some background and updates on this crisis.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to get this message out to the rest of the world.
Yes.
It's something that other municipalities really need to pay attention to. It's a how not to do what Jefferson County did.
Wow.
And they need to know that.
Exactly. So take us from I don't know who's better to do this, Commissioner Bowman or Mr. Grigsby, but start us out at the beginning. At some point, I think in 1990.
Well, why don't I start? But I want to start from now and go back.
Okay, go right ahead.
Because a lot of people thought that the Jefferson County had completed its bankruptcy.
Yes, that was what I thought.
Therefore, this was something that was over.
Yep.
And had not realized what completing the bankruptcy means. And let me just talk simply about, before the bankruptcy, Jefferson County owed on some sewer warrants, which were used to finance the sewer system in Jefferson County, about $4.6 billion. And they went to the bankruptcy judge and said, we're insolvent, we owe $4.6 billion. They went through bankruptcy, and after the bankruptcy, on those same warrants, they owed $14.7 billion.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Well, if the county was insolvent before they went into bankruptcy, owing 4.6, you know they're insolvent now.
Oh, my
goodness. They owe
$14.7
billion.
Absolutely.
And the thing that's so tragic about it is there's about, in Jefferson County, there are only... there's like 2 million people in Jefferson County or around that metropolitan area, but there are only about 130,000 households who are on the Jefferson County sewer system, which are the households in the flatlands.
Right.
And 80% of the Jefferson County sewer system, we expect 70-80% is roughly African Americans.
Wow.
And the problem is that 43,000 of the 125,000 households that are on the system are in low-income census tracts, which means an average median household income of less than $24,000 a year. Wow. Now, just to bring this down home.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Before the bankruptcy, the amount that the county was collecting, which was considered at the highest level of reasonableness by the clean water folks in D.C., was roughly $40-some a month. Now, if you take somebody with a $24,000 annual income, 2% of that annual income is the maximum they're supposed to be spending on a sewer bill.
Right.
And 2% of that income is, you take 2% of 24,000, you get 48. You divide that by 12, and that's $40 a month is the maximum, according to the publications of the clean water folk, that you should be paying on your sewer bill. Okay. Now, in order to pay back the $14 billion that the federal judge is enforcing on this community, the sewer bill is going to go up to over $200 a month from $40 a month.
Wow.
That's higher than mine.
Which is their annual income.
Right. I was just getting ready
over
to say.
10% of the annual income. If you take 10% of the annual income, 10% of 24,000 is 2,400. You divide that by 12.
Wow.
That's $200. That's what the sewer bill is going to go up to. Now, to make it worse is under the Alabama Constitution, the sewer bill, if it's not paid, becomes a lien on your house, and they can foreclose on your house and take your house.
Oh, my God.
And there
So
hasn't been an exception made.
You're looking at 43,000 people who are now captive to this system. They don't have anywhere else they can move. 95% of them are African American who are making less than $24,000 a year, who inevitably will lose their homes, and a lot of these are ancestral homes. In other words, grandma and grandpa was working in the mines. They bought the house back in the 20s and 30s, and they've handed the house down to this group, and this group has handed the house down to the third generation of people who are living in that house. These ancestral homes, which, you know, the title has like 20 people in it, right? Because it's
they've had it so
it started
long.
with grandma, and there were 4 or 5 kids, and then, you know.
Right.
But these are the kinds of homes that are getting ready to be lost, and all of them practically are owned by African Americans in the city of Birmingham.
So let me ask a question right here, because, you know, I'm a political scientist, and it would seem to me that although it won't deal with the debt head on, that there ought to be some legislative protection that would exempt these people from the lien on their home, since that's a state law, given the fact that the debt is created through a situation in which they had no control over.
Right.
To give them some
You're
relief.
absolutely right.
So why
The Constitution of the state of Alabama says if you want to put a lien on the house, you first have to submit the proposal for a vote. The bankruptcy judge said, well, we have the right to put the lien on the house, but the part about the vote doesn't apply.
Oh, my God.
OMG.
Wow.
What did George comment on that? I mean, George, you may want to, hone in on this.
And what about the area where these homes are located? Is that considered, in New Orleans, you saw kind of people moving into the area, gentrifying the area. Is that what you think is behind all of this, or is that one issue?
No. I really think it's the greed of some Wall Street bankers,
right?
Because they are bleeding dry the poorest district of all the 5 districts in Birmingham, and they're only taking this money from the people who are ratepayers.
Right.
Yes.
Those are the people who are on the sewer.
Right.
This is not a debt against the county. It's a debt against the ratepayers, because the county is not going to pay anything. The county is just a conduit.
Right.
It's the people and the money that they pay. Well, the only guarantee that they have right now is that no matter how high their sewer bill is, it's going to go up.
Right.
And it's going to go up again, and it's going to go up again and again. It's already been raised 3 times in the last year alone.
Oh,
wow.
And it's going to go up, and it's going to go up next year as well.
Oh,
and the following year for the next 40 years.
Right.
Wow.
That's what they pay.
And
they had absolutely nothing to do with the corruption that led to this spike in our rate in the first place.
I am so outraged on
nothing.
so many different levels. I don't even know what question to ask.
I know, where do
first
you
or
start,
next,
right?
To unpack
It's
this.
amazing.
But I do want to know, because I definitely want to understand the human element of this too. Commissioner Bowman, what impact has this had on the residents? How are they dealing with this, and what are they having to do to try to protect their homes?
They're making decisions on, real-time decisions on what they're going to do. Are they going to eat, or are they going to pay their sewer bill? And the sewer and the water bill are tied together. They're one and the same.
Wow. So if they're not paying their sewer, and that could cut their water off.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
My.
The water board also has its own internal set of increases that they have also imposed as well.
Wow.
So it's a double whammy.
Ooh.
It's a double whammy, and the
Yeah, and to show you how tragic was, the old ladies who were not using water, like taking baths once a month,
Wow.
in order to cut down on the water bill, because the sewer bill was based on the water usage until a year ago.
Yes.
Oh.
These old ladies were able to pay maybe $5 a month on a sewer bill because they weren't using any water.
Right.
Right.
And they're all on fixed, getting their Medicare, and they're getting Social Security. The county, the first increase was an across-the-board $15 per month fixed fee.
Oh, my God.
And it applied 100% to the poor people
Wow.
who were not using any water in order to save money on their bill.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the first just totally, in other words, it only applied to poor, just let's call it what it is, black folks who weren't using any water in order to save money on their bill, $15 a month.
Wow.
And that $15 a month is going to go up 8.5% a year for 4 years, and it's going to go up 3.5% for another 36 years, and the cumulative increase is 471%.
Oh my
Wow.
God!
So-
See, the numbers are now like at a level that are almost so imaginable that your head just
you just can't even wrap
as
your
you
mind around
keep
it.
You can't even imagine. Right now,
exponentially-
before the bankruptcy, the county's collecting $133 million from everybody in the county.
Oh my
The
goodness.
bankruptcy judge has imposed a new rate structure, which will go up to $671 million a year from $133 million a year, and the $133 million a year, according to the county's consultant, a firm called Raftellus, which is one of the highest-ranked consulting firms in the United States, was already at 2% and at the highest level of reasonableness under the Clean Water Act.
Oh my goodness.
And so the county, who was at the highest level of reasonableness from a sewer bill standpoint, collecting user-wide $133 million, is now going to go up to $671 million, an over 4 times increase. And the people who are on the system now, remember, most of the people in the county have septic tanks who are around in the foothills and in the areas outside the city. The city is the flatland where everything drains.
Sure, of course.
Those are the people who live in the flatlands who are paying 100% of the sewer bill. And let me give you one other statistic that's just mind-blowing.
Wow.
The
My
same
brain is
consultants
already
have
all over
found
the wall.
those folks only use 36% of the influent. They only produce 36% of the influent process at the plants. They're the poorest people, and they're paying 100% of the cost. And if you compare what they use in those plants versus the $14 billion that they have to pay, they're only using 3% of the $14 billion. In other words, they're getting benefit of 3% of something like $470 million a year, and they owe $14 billion.
Oh my
Wow.
God. So
Oh
I
my
have
God.
2 questions I gotta ask. This is, talk about head exploding.
Yeah, it really is.
I know if our listeners' heads are not exploding and just, I can't, it's almost like you can't believe this is happening
Yeah,
in
it's
this
so
country.
sad.
You can't believe it. You can't believe
You
it.
just
And that's why
cannot.
we're having a problem, is that people, and here's how bad it was on the legal side. When we made all these arguments in the bankruptcy court made a ruling that even though all of the sewer fees collected were non-recourse to the county, in other words, the way the law is written in Alabama, every sewer fee is passed through on a non-recourse basis to the user.
Mm-hmm.
So when the bankruptcy court makes a judgment and when the big Wall Street people and everybody gets paid, they don't have none of the people making the decision owe anything. The county's credit's not impacted. It's only, it goes straight through to the ratepayer, and there's a lien on their house, which becomes the ultimate security to pay back the warrants, which are, in this case, they're called warrants, but they're like bonds.
So
And so you've got a situation where the poorest people who have nobody to defend them,
Yeah, exactly. That's
who
what I
only
was
get a
getting ready to
benefit of
say.
about 3% of the money owed, have their houses up as security to guarantee Wall Street. And to make it even, your head's swimming now. It gets even worse because when the bankruptcy was filed, all of the standby warrant purchaser banks, who were the standby banks on the variable rate warrants, sold their warrants to hedge funds.
Oh, no.
Who bought up about $800 million of the warrants at I don't know, 40, 50 cents at a time. We don't know what they bought them up at because they're not going to tell us.
Right.
They bought them in record time because it sold out in 24 hours.
Oh my God.
It was sold out.
Hedge funds hired the best lawyers, and they're the ones who put this deal together to increase the amount that the county owed from $4.6 billion to $14 billion. And without our appeal, there would be no chance to ever unwind this.
Oh my goodness! So I used to clerk years ago when I first graduated from law school. Not the experience of you, Mr. Grigsby, but let's say 15, 17 years ago or so, I clerked for the bankruptcy court. And but even still, my understanding, I never had to deal with anything of this magnitude.
Right.
Clearly, nobody else has, because this is the largest municipal bankruptcy in the country. And my question
Except for Detroit, which is even worse. And
I used to live in Detroit. Yeah, I used to live in Detroit, so I know about that one as well. But my question is, if it doesn't feel like the bankruptcy court is giving the protection that it's set up and designed to give. It seems as though the rulings and the decisions that are being made, as you rightly pointed out, are really only protecting the lien holders and not the debtors.
Yes, the bottom line is you pass the debt on to the poor,
right,
who are least able to afford it.
Right.
And they wind up paying month in, month out, and it shows up in their mailboxes every month.
Yes.
I mean, they can see it. They can see it. They feel it.
Right.
But
it
reduces more and more of their disposable income.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That they would have used to pay other bills or to pay other family expenses.
Right.
Now that has to go lacking, because more and more resources have to go to the sewer and the water. And it doesn't matter how much they conserve. Doesn't matter at all. Their bill is still going to go up.
Wow.
So for those folks that are trying to conserve their water and turn it off when they brush their teeth and not just let water run just to hear it run.
Right,
yes.
right.
You know, not turn the shower on and wait till you see steam before you get in.
Yeah.
You know, but trying to conserve water, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because you're automatic. Exactly.
Right. So what I tell
it's
people
going to go
do
up,
is,
and you're going to be charged these
I
rates
tell
just
people
for
to
having
keep
water.
themselves clean and use the water that they need. I tell them, don't abuse water, but use the water that you need, that your family needs, because your bill's going to go up no matter what.
It's almost like water is a luxury.
You may as well get your money's worth.
Yeah,
you're definitely paying for it.
And I'm wondering.
And this whole thing is, by the way, the entire sewer system is only worth, according to the consultants, $1.15 billion. And the reason for all of the extra costs that are being passed along back to the poor users, and they are well represented by African Americans, is because of all the graft and corruption increased the cost of the sewer. In other words, if the sewer's only worth $1.15 billion, how come they owe $4 billion?
Right.
That's because of the waste, mismanagement, and graft and corruption that was used to pay back all of the warrants.
Right, because originally the sewer was only
sold is because they're backed by people's lien on the real estate.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And total assessed value of all of Jefferson County is $8.8 billion, and the total amount of the debt is $14.6.
Ridiculous.
So if you sold every piece of property in Jefferson County,
you still
You
wouldn't,
still
pay
wouldn't
that.
have enough
and
money
that was a
to pay
sinking
this
fund, you
debt.
wouldn't have enough to pay off the sewer bill. That's how bad it is.
And so, last question before we do.
I'll give you something. I'll give you something else to consider. You know, the county paid more than $30 million to two law firms to come up with this advice and this strategy.
Yeah.
And that advice and strategy was pass the cost on to the poor.
Wow.
Because that's what this does.
Yeah.
And for that bit of advice, the county has paid over $30 million.
To the
and
law
the
firm.
county's still not paying it. It's the people. It's the people that are paying it.
Oh,
because
he's
all
talking
of
about-
these costs have been rolled into the sewer debt.
Yeah.
Wow.
All
Exactly.
of these checks have already cleared the bank. These law firms have already gotten paid millions and millions of dollars from a bankrupt county.
Yeah. That's
From a
ridiculous.
bankrupt county, except for paying law firms that they like.
Right.
And let me put it in context of what these lawyers came up with. In the Chapter 11 context, once you issue new debt and you sell off the assets of the company and you basically pay the creditors based on their priority, who has stockholders and who has debt and who has preferred stock and all of this. Once you do that, there's a concept called mootness. It says that once the people have relied on the judge's opinion and there's been some split, even if it's not perfectly correct, you cannot go back and unwind that because everybody's relied on it and everybody's gotten their money and it's over. Now, they did this with the advice of this $30 million was that it doesn't matter what Calvin Grigsby says as a representative of the ratepayers, because as soon as we sell the debt, he won't be able to say anything because of mootness.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
the bankruptcy law also says you have to put up a bond if you're going to appeal equal to the amount of the debt. We did not put up a bond, and we went to the court and we said to the judge, the appellate judge, we said, this is different. Chapter 9 is not about corporate dollars being, paid to the people who are the creditors. It's about fundamental rights and the fundamental right to have a fair and equitable charge for your sewer system, which is a monopoly. And it has nothing to do with Chapter 11 and just adjusting, the assets, and selling out the assets and paying people some money. This is about fundamental constitutional rights and the people's right to have a fair and equitable price to pay and not lose their houses.
Absolutely.
And it has nothing to do with
Absolutely.
the county because the county's not obligated. And you know what
Exactly.
the district court judge said? You are right. And she quoted an old Justice and it said this is about the public interest, and every court in equity has to think about the public interest as a matter of reviewing any equitable matter, and we're going to let them appeal. Now, and then the $40 million worth of law firms and hedge funds and everybody then go to the 11th Circuit and ask the 11th Circuit to put back the mootness doctrine so that we can't air any of these issues in public. We can't have an appeal on how bad this is. We can't have an appeal on how the money was ripped off and why the people who are the poorest people in the county should not be responsible for paying all these rip-offs to pay hedge funds and
Right.
J.P. Morgan and all the people are
Well,
responsible.
Well, this is what I want to do. We're at the top of the hour. I can't believe. I mean, my head is
I know.
like
It's
spinning.
Give us a minute to process
so
all
what
of
we're
this.
going to do is take another song break, and then we'll come back. And what I want to pick up with Mr. Grigsby is I'm going to have the graphic of how Jefferson County's debt ballooned, because I think having a visual will kind of help us get a sense of this. And then I want Commissioner Bowman, if you could kind of help us understand from a legislative standpoint, is there any action that we can take legislatively? And then my big question is, where the hell are the feds and why haven't they stepped in?
Great question.
So we'll start with, keeping my water theme going for the show. I'm going to call back on old school.
Uh-oh.
And let's
old
hear
school's
the
the best
rain.
school.
Missy Elliott, Super Duper Fly.
Me, I'm super fly, super duper fly, super duper fly. Me, I'm super fly, super duper fly, super duper fly. Me, I'm super fly, super duper fly, super duper fly. Me, I'm super fly. When the rain hits my window, I take in me some. Me and Timberland, ooh, we sang a jangle. We so tight that you get our styles tangled. Sway your do-si-do like you loco. Can we get kinky tonight like Coco? So, you wanna play with my yo-yo? I smoke my on the D-Lo. I can't stand her. It's my window. 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 Beep, beep. Who got the keys to the Jeep? Vroom. I'm driving to the beach. Top down, loud sound, see my piece. Give them pounds now, look who it be. It be me, and Timothy. Look like it's about to rain, what a shame. I got the armor or the shine up the same. Old Missy, try to maintain. I can't stand the rain. I can't stand the rain. It's my window. I can't stand the rain. It's my window. I can't stand the rain. It's my window. I can't stand the rain. I feel the wind. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 10. Begin. I sit on hills like Lauren until the rain starts coming down and pouring. Chill. I got my umbrella. My finger waves these days. They fall like Humpty, Chumpy. I break up with him before he dump. To have me, yes, you lucky. It's my window. I can't stand her. 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 It's my window. 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 I can't stand her. I can't stand her. I can't stand her.
Whew. Well, we're back and we're still
exhausted.
overwhelmed and exhausted from
just-
hearing about this, but no, probably not nearly as tired and exhausted as the good people of Jefferson County who
Yeah.
have to live with this day in and day out.
My
And
prayers go out to them. I
Unfortunately,
just
we
can't.
weren't able to show the video that Counselor Tyson suggested for us. But if you saw the visual of this, it's people with porta potties and having to bring in water for even the most basic services in an effort to keep their water bills low and to not lose their homes. So we're joined, I'm Holly Holiday, your host, and I'm joined by my guest co-host, Johnine Clark. And despite the fact that our minds are blown, we are eager to continue this discussion. And to help us in this, we have attorney Calvin Grigsby and Commissioner George Bowman. Gentlemen, thank you so much for helping us to raise awareness about this issue. And I want to start with the graphic that you sent, Mr. Grigsby, about how Jefferson County's debt ballooned. And if you could kind of walk us through this to help us. A lot of this you have already shared, but I think the graphic will help us see how everything kind of came together.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my living room, so I don't have the graphic in front of me, but I've got it in my head. What happened was the county back in 2002 had a bunch of money moving around from J.P. Morgan. The SEC did a consent decree in 2008 with J.P. Morgan where, they made findings that J.P. Morgan gave Goldman Sachs a off-book swap for $3 million, and then Goldman Sachs had to give that money to some local people, and in order to facilitate some swaps in connection with the 2003 refinancing. And this firm called Haskell Slaughter, which was a local bond counsel firm, was the primary architect of putting this all together. And they probably made a couple $1 million on the swaps themselves, which were about $3 billion worth of interest rate swaps. $2 billion worth of what we call basis swaps. J.P. Morgan, Bear Stearns, and a few other firms like Bank of America made over $100 million on these swaps. So the payments that they made actually paid off for them. Only one person went to jail for any extended period of time based on the payments made by J.P. Morgan, and that was a guy by the name of Langford, who was a commissioner from, I think, District 1. Yeah, which is where George Bowman is now commissioner. And the various investment banking firms and bond counsels and so forth were all paid. What we calculated is that out of the $3 billion worth of variable rate or auction rate warrants that were issued to refinance about $2.5 billion worth of fixed rate warrants. Now, let me tell you how bad it was, Holly. In 2001 and 2000, they issued fixed rate warrants of about $2.5 billion. A year later, they refinanced these warrants, and they owed something like $3.5 billion. So they put, just in terms of the negative arbitrage and all the costs to do the refinancing, they lost on their books over $368 million. You wonder, why would anybody do a refinancing to lose $368 million? And the reason was, with all the money moving around, the refinancing was done just to make a bunch of people some money. And this is all in an 11th Circuit case called U.S. v. Langford. And it's all in an SEC consent order back in 2008. So all of these facts about the money moving around are all SEC wiretaps, going into like people's, a lot of the major firms have to keep all the conversations, with their trading desk and everything recorded. So these are all U.S. Securities Exchange Commission determinations. And so you ask, and George Bowman, I think, sent a big package back to the Attorney General's office saying, why aren't any of these people being indicted who paid all this money?
I personally took it there.
Yes.
I personally took it there.
And what was the response?
I sent it by snail mail. I sent it by electronic mail, and I personally hand carried it.
Wow. And what
to
was the response,
to
Commissioner?
the Justice Department.
What was the response?
Let me say this. The information that we have, we would be blind were it not for Calvin Grigsby. He is the only person that's been able to unravel these sophisticated financial schemes and show us how and where we're losing and who gets the final payback. He has worked for us. He has worked for us tirelessly. I'm telling you, we would be in the dark were it not for Calvin Grigsby. And I want to publicly say that we owe him the biggest debt of gratitude that any community can have, because he's been the one guy that stood up in court, sometimes against 20 or 30 guys on the other side. And he stands there, and he's the only one that stood up for the ratepayer. And I thank you, Calvin. I thank you.
We thank you as well. My goodness.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty humbling. But, you know, it's fortunate that I understand financial transactions, because what the bond counsel said to the judge was, "This is so complicated, Your Honor, we can't unravel it, so it's moot."
Wow.
And all I said to the judge is, "Judge, this ain't that complicated for anybody in the business. All that happened here is some warrants were refinanced to cover up all the markups, all the unfair markups based on the payoff."
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uncomplicated
It's
about
like
that.
it's like a massive shell game.
Yeah, and I said they marked these fixed rate warrants up by 1.63 billion, and they did it. And let me tell you why they did it, and why we had a bankruptcy in Jefferson County, and why we have a bankruptcy in Detroit, is because all of the big boys who are the big contractors and the big lawyers, when you do a bond issue to do a major construction project like a big clean water project, all these guys get no big contracts and they all get paid. Well, unless the poor people who pay the rates every year don't have any idea what's going on, so all they know is their rates are going up. And all of these debt instruments are non-recourse to the government entity that sells them. They're only recourse to the ratepayers who have no representation and nobody to explain to them why their rates are going up. And if you look at Detroit, for example, has $2 billion worth of outstanding sewer warrants, and it's all based, half of it practically is based on mismanagement and, you know, money moving around.
Right. Yeah.
But the poor people who have to pay those bills don't have anybody in the bankruptcy court to protect them.
Got it.
And so, because the bankruptcy, a municipal bankruptcy is filed by the government.
Yep.
The governmental entity is controlled by the lawyers who made all the money on all of the bond deals.
Oh my goodness. See,
Right.
and that's the real, and I think you led with this point, and that this is Wall Street greed at its absolute worst.
Absolutely.
And I have to say, Commissioner Bowman, help us understand.
How much is enough?
Right. How much
Well,
more
apparently
money?
$14 billion doesn't
Right.
get you there,
Exactly.
so I don't know what does. Commissioner Bowman, what can we do? I mean, we're here in Washington. Our listeners are all over the world. We want to call attention to this issue. What should we do? What can we do to help?
If we are successful with this appeal,
yes,
and I mean we're at the point of the spear.
Yes,
with this appeal, we either are successful or we're not. And if we're not successful, they win. Their shell game worked. They thumbed their noses at us and gave us the bill, and they expect us to pay it.
yes.
Right.
And they don't care that someone else is paying it as long as it's getting paid.
And it's not
I
them
mean, that's
paying
the
it.
attitude that they take. If
Right.
we are unsuccessful, we're going to have to just suck it up and eat it.
Wow. Well, Mr. Grigsby, how does the appeal look? What do we need to do?
If we're on the positive side,
Yes.
if we're successful, we go back to the drawing board and come up with some more reasonable rates.
Right.
We understand rates are going to go up. They go up in everything.
Sure.
But at the scale that these rates are going up, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'd ask for some sense of reasonableness. Let's go back to the drawing board and come up with something that people can afford.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm asking.
And I don't understand. When we had in 2006 and beyond, when we had the big housing crisis, and Bank of America and many of these firms were at the heart of that too.
Right.
The government fined them and then used that money to help homeowners get refinanced and set up government programs. Why do we not see the federal government stepping in and taking some similar action in this case, particularly given the fact that it is, as we've talked about, a Wall Street shell game?
Right.
Well, you got to understand what has happened. The big law firms, 4 or 5 law firms that represent J.P. Morgan, have signed the consent decree and paid, I think, about a $300 million fine.
Well, that's a drop in the bucket.
That then J.P. Morgan.
75, Cal. They paid 75. They paid
75, and then they waived the termination on some swap deals, which they had made the money on anyway, but they made it look bigger. They only paid $75 million in cash. You're absolutely right.
Wow. Oh my God.
But they made it look bigger by saying, well, we're waiving the swap obligation, which was the obligation they paid all the bribes to get anyway, which was totally illegal.
But the swap obligations were created by them.
But here's how you can help. We have a poor repair defense fund account at Wells Fargo. The account number, you can go to any Wells Fargo branch in the United States or in the world.
Yes.
And make a contribution to account number 217-464-3516. Okay. And one more time, that's account number 217-464-3516, Wells Fargo, the Sewer Defense Fund. And we have a lot of lawyers who are willing to work with me on this, but they just have to get paid.
Absolutely.
And not many are willing, I've been able to have the resources to put about $400,000 of my own money in the case.
Wow.
In addition to the time. But most people don't have those kind of resources, and I'm getting ready to run out of resources pretty soon.
I'm
because
sure.
Every time I brief, Holly, I got 4 briefs back.
Oh, yeah, because you got
and
20
if you look
lawyers
at the latest
working
filings,
on that.
we have now filings by SIFMA on an intervention basis and the bond lawyers on an intervention basis. And if you look at our response to that, we uncovered the fact that the lawyer for SIFMA just happens to be the lawyer for Syncora, which was the insurer who walked away from an obligation of about $2 billion.
Oh, my God. It
And
just
the
keeps
lawyer
getting worse.
for the so-called bond lawyers was a lawyer for Regions Bank who walked away from a big obligation.
Oh,
so
my God.
Oh,
they have come in with friends of the court briefs by the same lawyers who were representing clients in the bankruptcy.
Wow. Well,
and so we need lawyers. We need to beef up our legal team.
Yep.
And we need financing and we need help to do that. And I
we
think
will
in terms of our
definitely start
ability to
promoting.
prevail, if you look at the district court ruling by Judge Blackburn, you will see that she has basically agreed that the ratepayers, as the only ones who are making the payments, have standing to question the legitimacy of this bankruptcy.
Wow.
And I want to say one thing that's so clear that anybody can understand. It's not that complicated. If you are insolvent because you owe $4.6 billion, and after the bankruptcy you owe $14 billion, then you are definitely insolvent now, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
You owe more. If you owe more, if you go to the court and say I'm insolvent because I owe $4.6 billion, and you come out of there saying, well, we just when they refinanced this debt that was illegal to begin with, the new debt is now $6.6 billion.
Just craziness.
Principal and interest, and because they use zero coupon bonds, the principal is real low in the beginning, and then it goes up real high, just like the old savings bonds.
Yep.
They told the court about that the debt was just the principal and not the interest.
Oh my!
And so they said, "Well, Your Honor, we only have 1.8 billion to refinance 3.2 billion, and therefore we saved 1.5 billion dollars."
Wow. Well,
the
we will
1.8
certainly
was a zero coupon that had $5 billion worth of junk bond interest attached to it.
Wow. Well,
and that's what I'm saying. $1 billion unless you know finance.
Yeah.
Unless you know finance, you got to go with the fact that they saved 1.5 billion.
Yeah, that's
what they were trying to run on everybody, because the judges don't know finance. Everybody else doesn't understand it as because they said, oh, we have single-digit increases. Yeah, but single-digit increases over a period of 40 years turned out to be 471%.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've reached the end of our time here, but I have to end on this note. Well, I have one thing. I just have to know from Commissioner Bowman, does the sewer system work?
Yes, the school system works. Thank God for one thing.
I know. I was going to say, if it didn't work, it was just going to be like, oh my God.
This is the most expensive sewer system in the world. I just want to make sure. I just want to know that it works.
Exactly.
After all of this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
we need more.
Yes, thank you, Jesus. Well, we will certainly do our part to promote the Sewer Defense Fund for Jefferson County, Alabama. We'll make sure that account number at Wells Fargo is a part of our materials that we send out to our audience, and we'll repeat it over the course of the next few months so that folks know what's going on. And gentlemen, please continue to keep us and our show updated. Maybe we'll check back in with you once maybe we have the decision on the appeal to see where we are, and we'll certainly do our best to try to make sure that people know about this very important issue, because the fact that we have folks that have to make these kind of choices,
right, homeowners
right, in this country is absolutely appalling. Insane. And I just want to thank both of you all for agreeing to appear on the show.
You.
And fighting, too.
And fighting up the fight. Keeping the fight alive. And we're going to do our part.
If I may.
Yes.
If I may. This case should be a classic case for public administration. This should be a case study.
Yes.
For all students at the undergrad and at the graduate level.
Yes.
To examine how a community, through its utilities and through the manipulation of financial instruments, can result in the kind of debt that skips generations.
Yeah.
Here we have grandchildren that will be paying on this debt who had absolutely nothing to do with creating it.
Right. Yeah. Well, the people who are paying on, none of the people paying on it.
This is why we fight.
Right. Well, you're doing God's work, and we certainly appreciate and uplift you in it.
Thank you.
Okay, and you guys, I just want to thank you on behalf of Sheila Tyson. I mean, she wanted to be on the program.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she got tied up on her flight, but she has been a godsend in terms of raising money for this effort, and she's taken a lot of hits for that.
Yes.
Because, the local business community won't support her. George Bowman has taken a lot of hits because the local business community that will get all this money won't support him. And I think you guys, for her, in terms of putting us on the program.
All right.
We
Well,
thank you for having-
and
Thank
big
you.
shout
For
out to
being on.
our friend, City
Thank
Council
you.
member Sheila Tyson. We need some healing after that, so we're gonna go to Whitney Phipps. And God's gonna trouble in the. Oh Lord, I'm so tongue tied. I don't know what to do.
God's gonna trouble the water.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. See, we need
It
some
would be
healing
so
right
bad
now.
if it wasn't so real, you know?
Oh, I know.
Exactly.
Too real to
We
believe.
need the healing right now.
Absolutely.
He's gone trouble. Yes, he's gone trouble. He's gone trouble. Yes, he's gone trouble. Way in the water. Way in the water, children. Way in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Come on and wade in the water. Come on and wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. I know that God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that man all dressed in white? God's gonna trouble the water. You know it must be the children of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Come on and wade in the water. Come on and wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. I know that God's gonna trouble the water. Come on and wade in the water. Come on and wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. I know that God's gonna trouble the water. Come on and wade in the water. Come on and wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. I know that God's gonna trouble 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 the
I have officially become a broken record when I say my mind is blown.
I
How
know.
about you?
I'm exhausted.
I know. I need a drink after that conversation.
Just
I'm
to-
headed right to the bar right now.
It
just
is
to
just
like.
so unbelievable. This
It
is
so
2015.
unbelievable. Yes. And what's crazy is the county officials, several of the county officials who approved the original contracts have been prosecuted for corruption. And there's also been a few low level, because the other thing that we didn't talk about, because it's sort of been resolved, is this started out as a $300 million project.
Okay.
But corruption between the county commission and the contractors that they hired to build the sewer system sent them into cost overruns of $3.3 billion. So they went from $300 million. This is just to build the damn thing.
Right.
And then they came to $3.3 million to completion. So a lot of people went to jail because of the project
the graft
itself
and all that. Yeah.
But what we're still dealing with is the financing of the project. So they had to, so it was levels. So they got ripped off on the financing.
Right.
They got ripped off on the project itself.
Right. Right.
And they got, and then they continue to get ripped off
On the
while the debt
implementation.
gets sold and swapped, and I agree with Calvin Grigsby. This is a study on how not to be. And if it doesn't say anything else, it says this is why we need to vote. And voting in your local elections,
Oh my God.
for your county commissioners and for your city council people is sometimes way more important than voting for president.
Right.
Because these people are making decisions that impact you right now. They're making decisions about your water, your electric, all the public works and utilities,
Right.
street signs. That's the stuff that impacts you every single day.
Right. And what always happens invariably in cases like this is the low guy on the totem pole is the one that ends up going to jail.
Right.
But we discussed law firms making a lot of money, and investment banks and making a lot of money, and nothing happens.
$30 million for bad advice. Nothing
happens
to
them. So you see why Hillary's emails really aren't that important.
And
you
it
see, in
comes
the long
back to
range
that.
scheme of
It
things,
comes back to
Hillary's
that.
emails really don't matter.
It's all about the perspective, I tell you. Well, I definitely want to highlight and remind people, please, 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 please contribute to the Sewer Defense Fund, which is set up at any Wells Fargo bank. That account number is 217-464-3516. We're going to be definitely talking about that a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put together a little flyer and send it around to all my friends. And as you guys know, we always support causes, and this is one that definitely will have an immediate impact. The appeal is happening right now, and as Grigsby talked about, they need funds to help make sure that they can even answer all the complaints. I see this as a David and Goliath moment,
right. So they're going to keep papering more motions, amended
Lord.
motions, just to, try to discourage Mr. Grigsby and the team from going forward and supporting these people, which is just so amazing on so many fronts.
It's really egregious. I mean, I'm trying to think of the adjective to describe what
the list,
it really is.
Whatever negative words you can find, this is it.
This is it. This really is terrible. And I should say that, the sewer covers the entire county, and one of the things that's happened is black people, most of whom are at or near the poverty level, pay 40% of the sewer bill but produce only 14% of the wastewater. And so one of the things that Mr. Grigsby and I talked about offline, and this is why I really think there should be more federal protection in this particular case, is that it's clearly a tax on the poor that is a violation of the 5th and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. And so, beyond just the non-protection of the bankruptcy court, we really just need to think about that. And, Alabama is one of the poorest states in the union. And it's amazing enough that you have these people, again, many of them low income, that are home owners. That's the part I can't quite get past, and who's buying this house? You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Like, not only can they not keep up with their current payments, but let's say now we just want to sell and get out. Who's buying the house?
Exactly.
Because you can't even sell the house. The house has no value now because you're basically just transferring debt, and nobody. And unlike the bond issue, ain't nobody swapping your debt.
Not at all.
There ain't no
Not
swap there ain't no swap game you can play
No.
to get out from under that because no one's buying, and so the only thing that
Not if
happens
I have to go
is
to the bathroom outside
in the porta potty.
in the porta potty, and I got to cook on the barbecue grill.
On the barbecue grill, out back,
Out
or
back.
in the
It's
front,
not happening.
wherever the barbecue grill.
You can't even
goes.
describe that as a fixer-upper.
That's not a nothing. The only
Nothing.
which puts them in a horrible position of having to
it's
say, I either figure out how to pay these outrageous fees and, like they said, make life choices to try
Right.
to figure that out.
Right.
Or my house goes to pay off the debt and I lose my house.
Exactly.
And nobody, I mean, you can't even sell it.
Right. Houses that
There's no
they've had for
refinancing
generations.
here. Yeah, there's no refinancing. There's nothing, else that they can do for that. You're literally just stuck doing nothing. Wow. I just can't.
I can't.
It is.
I have got to support and send some money to them to help them out. I just
No, I'm sitting here thinking, dang, well, maybe I won't go to such and such so I can send them,
exactly.
send them a little
and it just
cash.
makes you appreciate, where you are, and little things like water, are a luxury to some people. And we take it so for granted,
We absolutely take it for granted. So, again, want to do a big shout out to Calvin Grigsby of Grigsby and Associates, who has literally come in on a white horse to try to save the day, and said, and is trying to protect the interest of the citizens and residents of Jefferson County, Alabama, and to advocates and elected officials such as Sheila Tyson and George Bowman, who are trying to hold it down for their, for their constituents. And thank God for them, right?
Yeah.
Because clearly, prior to them, who was standing up for the people?
Right. And clearly the people were looking to them, because I think you were telling me that Sheila was an activist first in the community.
Yep.
So when she decided to run, clearly she has some sort of mandate from the residents, because
Right.
she, became a city council person. So, wow.
It's a lot. It's just a lot.
It
I don't
is a
even
lot.
know. So, you've heard the news. What's your takeaway from that?
Man, we have got to support this cause, but as we do other causes like this, I mean, Jefferson County is a huge example.
Yes.
But there are other examples, I think, within our own communities
Yes.
of similar situations, maybe
Yeah.
not as drastic, I don't think. I would hope not.
We hope not,
As
yeah.
this, but, I think it's just definitely a lesson to all of us, to be more mindful of our community and how we can help, every cent, every dollar, time. We're both attorneys. The time that we can, give and support, we both do pro bono work, but, this is just an example of how we have got to get back to where we used to be as a community.
Yep.
Everyone helps everyone else.
Yeah.
And whether the person is our neighbor or someone a block over, or, a relative of a friend, or, a friend's community that's trying to do something to help out, someone else less fortunate, we have got to find ways to support ourselves, our community, other people. Like I said, I have to write a check. I gotta get a debit card, do something.
Gotta do something, absolutely. Well, you
just,
said it all, and the only thing I can do is go to our final song break, and I saved the best for last, folks, because I love New Edition. If you didn't
I
know
should
how
have
much
known
I
that you would
love
pull
New
this
Edition,
song.
you
That's
got to
really why you had the
find
water
out.
theme, right?
Yeah, well, any excuse to play New Edition, I will
Edition,
take it. And so we're gonna go with "Can You Stand the Rain"
Oh,
by
that's
New
one of my
Edition.
favorites, Holly. Good choice.
And then we'll come back and talk about some things happening in our community here in the DMV.
on a perfect day, I know that I can count on you. When that's not possible, tell me, can you ever restore? 'Cause I need somebody who will stand by me through the good times and bad times. He would always be right there. Sunny days, everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Storms will come. This we know for sure. Can you stand the rain? Love unconditional. I'm not asking just of you. Girl, to make it last, I'll do whatever needs to be done. But I need somebody who will stand by me. When it's tough, she won't run. She will always be right there for me. Sunny days, everybody loves them. Tell me, can you stand the rain? Storms will come. I know all the days won't be perfect, but tell me, can you stand it? Can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? No pressure from me, baby. 'Cause I want you and I need you and I love you. Tell me, baby, will you be there for me? Come on, baby, let's go get wet. Can you stand the rain? Will you be there, girl? Storms will come for sure. Can you stand the rain?
Okay, I can't talk about the sewer no more today, but we will be talking about it in future shows.
Right, and I'm sure New Edition helped a little bit.
A New Edition always helps.
Okay,
Soothe the soul, boys. You soothe the soul. God love you. Don't worry, I'm be coming to see you real soon.
I know, I'm surprised.
So let's talk about what's happening in the community. First up, this is a new one. The Black Men and Boys Day on Capitol Hill is actually going to happen.
Yay.
All politics matter. And with all the things we've had to deal with in the last year with our black men and boys, this is when they're going to let their voices be heard. April 22nd through the 23rd. Reach out to Black Youth Vote at ncbcp.org for more information. Second up, the Women's Hall of Fame, March 19th. 2015 will be taking place. This is where in Maryland they do the induction for the folks that are the big women in Maryland, and so that happens in Annapolis, and on behalf of the Maryland Commission on Women and the Women's Legislature of the Maryland General Assembly. It usually is a really great event done in the Capitol with all the little pretty stuff they got down there. And if you haven't been to Annapolis, which I only went really last year. It is really, really beautiful.
It is really pretty.
And unlike some capitals, really walkable. So really easy to get around. So definitely check that out. And I don't know if you've ever been to Prince George's Women's History Month luncheon.
I don't think I have.
Well, it is an occasion not to be missed, and they're expecting a really, really special guest that we'll be disclosing on next week's show. But it's happening March 19th. At Martin's Crosswinds, and usually they have about 1,000 women.
Wow, that's next Thursday.
Next Thursday, yep. And this will be the 30th anniversary. And we had LaVon Reedy Thomas from the County Executive's Office on last week, giving us a special shout-out announcement to let us know that this is an occasion not to be missed. I unfortunately will miss it because I will be out of town. Big surprise.
Right.
But I went last year, and it was truly fabulous.
Is it the 30th anniversary?
It's the 30th anniversary,
wow.
Absolutely. They had Jewel Diamond Phillip last year, and honey, she was talking about wearing the crown and throwing it down, and she's been and provided us diamond drops of wisdom over the course of several of our shows.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, absolutely. And then finally, coming up will be the Youth Empowerment Summit, also happening in Prince George's County, hosted by the Honorable Ingrid M. Turner, Esquire, and InReach, Inc. This is going to be 300 teens from all over the county.
Wow.
She shared with me that she has representation for almost every high school in the county, which is freaking amazing.
Nice.
And it's a $10 fee, so it's really cheap. She's going to have them all day, and she's going to feed them, and they're going to do lots of amazing things. There's still time to get in on the event, so you can register at Eventbrite. Go to YES for Youth Empowerment Summit, PGC for Prince George's County, 2015.eventbrite.com, and find out all of the information. And in 2 weeks, next week, we're going to return to our Wealth and Wise and Healthy train that we're gonna that we've been doing.
Right.
But in 2 weeks, we're gonna be talking about schools and charter schools.
Oh, wow.
And you know,
right up your alley.
Yeah. And another
as
lawsuit.
Our most issues.
Another lawsuit. So I've become the lawsuit guru, right? Like every time you come on,
right,
I got somebody
like,
on who's suing somebody.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the DC charter school lawsuit in 2 weeks, and then we're also going to have a lot of members from our chapter on, and the Xi Omega chapter, Washington, D.C. of Alpha Kappa Alpha, on to talk about their mental health awareness.
Oh, wonderful.
And so they'll be joining us to talk about their program on April 18th, which is also when the D.C. Pearls 3 Foundation will be hosting its cotillion. So next week we'll put on all of the information for people to get tickets to come to the cotillion to celebrate 10 lovely young ladies. And how many of the little girls do we have?
14.
14 of the little precious pearls.
Yes, pink satin pearls.
Pink
They're
satin
so cute.
Pearls are so cute, and so we definitely want to support them as well. Woo! Are you exhausted?
Yeah, you need to warn me next time when you invite me to co-host.
I knew it was going to be deep.
To do a few more.
But I have to admit, as excited as I was to get into this show, I was completely caught off guard by how deep it got.
Yeah,
he just kept. I was like, well, it's not gonna get. This is the bottom.
Right.
No,
it's got to go up at some point. Right.
It didn't.
It was all these. And by the way,
like always another layer.
And
another
just in
layer,
case you were appalled
layer.
about that, let me give you something else.
Right. Let me give you one more thing.
Right.
One of the things that we like to do on our show is to obviously support the other shows on WLVS Radio.
Yes, absolutely.
And particularly our ladies on our Wednesday lineup. We feel like we have got a great block of gorgeous, wonderful, smart, intelligent, the do everything kind of doing it.
Yes.
Ladies here in this area. And so I have to give a big shout out to Be Swinging and Sandra. One of the things that she's doing, and we've done this. We've had authors in to our sorority to talk about different things, and she's having what I'm calling the ultimate book club on steroids.
Oh, wow.
And it's occurring October 16th through the 17th. And it's Black Authors and Readers Rock Weekend. And they're going to be like 20 plus authors, and everybody's going to be there, and the books will be available, and the readings will happen, and it'll just be crazy, crazy, crazy good. There'll be panels and a reception and expos.
Because
and
Black people do read.
Yeah, yes.
And we do author books.
Yes, both. And so we'll all be hanging out for the ultimate Black Authors Book Club for authors and readers. And for more information on that, it happens right here in the DMV in Bowie, Maryland. Go to RealDivasRead.com. How could you not want to go to that? RealDivasRead.com. Tickets can be purchased at Eventbrite at 2015 Black Authors Readers Rock Weekend tickets. And you can find it. I am so excited about this event.
And there's plenty of time for you to get your tickets.
Like to. We're doing the save the date because she already told me this event sells out. So that's why I wanted to make sure to talk about that. And we have reached the end of the time. What do you want to do? Just exhale?
I think I need to exhale.
It's like, ooh, yeah.
Woosah.
Okay, we'll be back next week, Wednesday.
I think Jennifer will be back with you.
Jennifer will be back in the house, and we wish her safe travels back from Atlanta, Georgia. We'll be talking about our being healthy and wise in this new year, and dealing with some of these important health issues. In the meantime, look, I'm not gonna lie, this show today was deep.
It really was,
and it was heavy. And to be honest with you, I didn't get everything that was going on. So I, like probably you, will have to go back and listen to the show again just to make sure that I understand some of the nuances. And the good news is you'll be able to do that because we'll be posting this show on Sunday, as we do every Sunday. So you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Truth 360 by BDC, and watch the show again. And trust me, this is the show you need to watch again. This is the show that you also need to share with your friends and family. It's going to take more than one time to understand all of that mind-blowing stuff. And in the meantime and in between time, continue to follow us on Twitter at Truth 360 by BDC. Like our page on Facebook at Truth 360 by BDC. And, of course, we're always available by email at truth360@blackdresscollaborative.com. And then, finally, if you want the latest up-to-date, what we're going to be talking about, when, where, and how it's all going down, you want to text Truth 360 to 40691. That is it for us. I want you to keep those radios and internet channels and URLs locked to WLVS Radio, because the Renee Allen and Friends show is coming up next. And I told you, we do powerful stuff on Wednesdays with the ladies, and I know she's going to bring it. That's it for us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.